Hey, how's it going, everybody? I just want to make a quick video sort of discussing something that was on my mind for a bit. I actually discussed this in a podcast that I made with White over on our MinMax cast. But I thought I would make a quick video as I felt this was an interesting topic and I wanted to just sort of push my opinion on it. So you guys might know that I really do like MMORPGs. I also play a lot of FPS games. However, one thing I've noticed was that a lot of MMORPGs that are coming out have been failing to grow. A lot of them come out, they might peak at a decent number, a couple thousand, maybe a couple tens of thousands, but it never seems to really grow in the way that you would want an MMORPG to be. That means that when you're going into the game, as you roam the world, it feels rather dead. Some of the biggest MMOs being World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, Final Fantasy 14, and Black Desert Online. I know there's some others, but a lot of these big MMOs, when you go into it, no matter where you are, you feel like you're in a big living world. WoW might have areas that might be more or less populated because of how expansive the game is at this point. It's very hard to obviously put people in every place. And I know that's a natural thing for a lot of the MMOs. However, these games have such a massive population and they are extremely hard to beat, and they're also older games. They're games that have been around for quite some time, and you just kind of notice that a lot of games that have been coming out as of recently just aren't up to par, aren't able to surpass these. And so I wanted to discuss the two MMOs that I thought might be able to change the MMO genre for the better. This doesn't mean that essentially it's going to be the next WoW killer or whatever. It doesn't mean that it's going to be the game that steals from all these player populations. What I mean by that is that these are games that could pull in a new audience to the MMORPG genre. It seems like a lot of games lately basically just try and copy the biggest ones, basically just try and do WoW, but essentially just do it better. Or they look at some games like Final Fantasy and they just sort of see what's going on in that game, see that, people really like this, and then people just try and copy that. But it's like, why would you try and copy a game that's already succeeding at doing that? So I find it's kind of hard to pull a new audience into the genre when all you're doing is just essentially copy and pasting what's already been succeeding. So that's why I think both New World and Riot's MMO could do a fantastic job at pulling new players into the MMORPG genre. So some of the issues that I find with the genre as of lately is that it's very hard to find a game that offers a new experience to players. When I want to, play a new game, oftentimes what I look for is what's new and exciting, what's something that's, next generation, so to speak. And also that's something that draws me and my friends in general to play the game that the other person's trying to convince. If my friend's like, hey, I've been playing this game, you want to come try it out? Or if I'm trying to convince somebody else, it's often the approach I go to is like, look at this unique aspect of this game that, you can't get anywhere else. You got to come and try it. And when you look at almost every MMORPG, what do you compare it to? You just say, oh, look, it's kind of like this game, but they did this slightly different. Or, it's, remember that system from this MMORPG? It's like that, but they just made it a little bit more polished. I find that's a huge issue right now. And I think that the potential is really there for New World, just because they really know what they're doing when it comes to a social game. I find that that's missing from so many of these MMORPGs. When you go around the world, there's no ability to just talk to random people that you meet. All it is just, go here, queue up for this dungeon. Go here, queue up for this whatever. Go here, talk to this NPC, go here, blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't feel like a proper community experience, and I find that's a bit of an issue. I know that you can certainly join Discords, do all that, but one thing New World has is just VoIP. You can go around and just talk to people in-game with your voice, which is a fantastic element, and it actually changes the entire way the game feels and the way that you interact with the world itself. You're going to find tons of players that just come along and just start shit-talking you, and then all of a sudden you just start fighting them in the open. That is honestly something that's missing from so many MMOs. It's just that actual proper community feel. Even being able to trade with people now. so many games just limit the ability to just go up to a player and trade it. You have to go through this complicated like mailing system, or you have to put it on the market and wait for them to buy it or whatever. It's just a social aspect that has been missing from a lot of games, and I think that in general, like the entire social aspect of the game, the whole like, you roaming around, that you're part of this faction, they're part of that faction, that sort of territory war element is just something that's so new, and I think is going to pull so many people in. The survival elements, for example, when I used to play Conan Exiles, one thing that I really hated was the meta builds. It's the same with Rust. You have these bases that are extremely honeycombed, and there's nothing you can do about it. So all you have to do is break through a million different walls, and that's essentially the, base fighting. You just go through a bunch of walls while they're sleeping, and then when they log online, they lose everything. And it's the same thing for you. You log offline, all of a sudden everything's gone. At least this way, your big company can own a settlement, and then that settlement has a set time where people can fight you. During those periods, it's extremely exciting because you can actually be there for the fight, That's been missing from a lot of survival games, and I think they sort of saw what people wanted in the survival games. One thing that's might have been missing, and they've given us that opportunity, and I'm excited to have those big, 50v50, whatever, moments that are more coordinated and have an actual impact in the world itself, whether, it means that you get to keep that settlement or you lose that settlement. Yeah, and another thing is that Riot's MMO is going to be made by Riot. I mean, we don't really know much about it, but we know that almost everything that Riot has touched has been, a good success. They've done fantastic work with pretty much every genre they've dipped their toes into. They hire the right people, and in this case, they've done a fantastic job. If you look at the people, on Twitter who have been hired to start working on this MMO, they have some big shots. They have some fantastic people from so many of these top MMOs, some of the very, very important people, big developers. This is definitely going to be a game that succeeds. Even if it isn't the next biggest MMO, the top one, whatever, this is going to be a success, and it's hard to ignore that. And we know that Riot loves to innovate, loves to make sure that the game has competitive integrity. They do so many things right when they make a game that I'm just so excited to see what this MMO is going to be. And it's going to be able to pull in so many new players into the genre. When you look at League of Legends, tons of people who play that don't necessarily play other MOBAs. For me, I only play that MOBA. I've dipped my toes in other ones, but I don't play any other ones. TFT, it's the only game like that I play. Valorant, it's the only tac shooter I play. I typically play a lot of other types of shooters. So it's like they're able to pull in people who don't necessarily play those genres. And I've seen that from plenty of my friends who play all these games. They're able to pull in people that don't play the genre that it is because they make it so accessible, along with having a fantastic skill gap that makes you want to learn, makes you want to improve. And if they can do that with an MMO, I'm sure that it's going to be fantastic for pulling in a new crowd. And I don't think it's necessarily going to kill WoW or kill any of these other big MMOs and be bigger than those. By draining the populations of those. I think it's going to pull in a completely new crowd, and it's just going to be a big success. And that's what I think this genre needs, is more people, more minds, more of an impact on the genre with a player base that wants to do different things than what we're so used to. Just go here, play the Holy Trinity, do this dungeon, whatever. That's what we've been doing for so many years, and it's getting old. And I think we need change. We need something new. We need something innovative within the MMORPG genre. And I think this is it. Which is a final note I want to talk about is what can developers do in order to appeal to more people, and what really is success out of that. I think when it comes to what success is are you able to get a population that is sustainable for the game that you are making? Don't make a game that's going to be this massive, massive open world thing where everywhere you go is just so barren because you don't have a population big enough. If you're going to have a smaller thing, if you're an indie developer, make a smaller game, but make fantastic, really, grand scheme content within that small space. And then, if you're going to be making, that next big massive thing, if you're a AAA title, make sure every part of that feels like a living world. I think it's been really good to go into certain MMOs where, like, no matter where you are, there's people there, there's things to do. It feels really, sad when you're a new player going through the newbie area and there's nobody there. It makes you want to just, stop playing altogether when there's not enough people to get to the next point. So I think there's definitely a lot of things that developers can do, but just, as a general rule of thumb, just stop trying to copy what is a success already. Stop trying to just improve on basic things that we already have. It's going to be extremely hard to pull a WoW player away from WoW if you just make another WoW that's slightly better. That's not good enough. There's so much content already there. Why would they leave it for something that's only the smallest bit better when they already have something that they love and that they've been playing forever? Try and do something new. You can look at almost every big trend right now and the games that are really big and really popping right now. It's not necessarily that they took something that was already done and then did it a little bit better. A lot of developers have just done something that's new, unique, something that really like changes the genre and adds, variety to how we play. That's what we should be focusing on. Anyway, sorry, that's been a little quick rant. I just really wanted to get my thoughts across. I thought it was a bit of a interesting topic. Please feel free to share what you guys think. What MMOs have you been playing? What do you look for in an MMO? And feel free to subscribe for more content. Hope to be covering a little bit more New World. And obviously, whenever Riot's MMO comes out, I will 100% be covering that. So thanks for stopping and see you again. Bye.